The grand hall of the Galactic Concord shimmered with light and hope. Towering crystalline pillars cast refracted rainbows over delegates from dozens of star systems, each representing a civilization that had, until recently, barely glanced at the small blue planet called Earth. But today was different. Earth had been granted a seat at the high table, the summit where decisions that shaped the galaxy were made. Dr. Mira Halverson stood at the edge of the hall, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her sharp gaze caught every whispered exchange, every stolen glance. The summit was supposed to mark humanity's rise, a symbol that Earth was no longer the ignored backwater, but a valued partner. Instead, Mira felt the tension like an electric current beneath polished smiles and diplomatic niceties. "Dr. Halverson," a voice whispered at her side. Mira turned to see Ambassador Ralthar from the Vicari system, an alien species known for their cunning diplomacy. "Your people have been courageous. But you must understand the galaxy moves in cycles. Earth's resources will change hands soon. We offer peace." Mira forced a smile, her mind racing. She'd spent months analyzing encrypted transmissions, leaked messages between Concord leaders plotting Earth's swift neutralization. She held proof that the Concord planned to seize Earth's vast reserves of dark energy, ignoring the treaty. And now, as the summit buzzed with hopeful optimism, the trap was closing. The main hall fell silent as Earth's envoy, President Elena Marquez, took the stage. Her voice was clear and steady, radiating the pride and desperation of a planet that had fought its way into the stars. "Friends of the galaxy," she began, "Earth stands ready to share its discoveries and build a future together." Then the lights flickered. A cold wave of static swept through the summit's communication systems. Delegates shifted uneasily as emergency sirens blared. The sky above Earth, seen through massive viewports, turned a sickly green. Outside the station's orbit, a fleet of Concord warships shifted formation, weapons powering up. Mira's heart pounded. The attack was not coming from an enemy fleet. It was from the Concord itself. "Get to the comms room!" President Marquez barked, her face hardening. In the cramped control chamber, alarms screamed as satellites around Earth went dark. Communications went silent. Then, a message burst through, raw and jagged with interference. A final, desperate transmission from Earth. "Evacuate now!" The signal repeated in every known galactic language. "The galaxy has betrayed us." Mira's hands trembled as she helped relay the warning. But the Concord fleet swarmed in, devastating Earth's orbital defenses and disabling its AI grids. Cities below fell silent, communications cut off, the planet left to burn. For a moment, no one moved. The summit's delegates exchanged stunned glances. Some whispered about malfunction. Others denied the possibility that the Concord had turned on one of their own. But Mira knew better. The betrayal was deliberate. "Why?" a young technician whispered behind her. "Because we had what they wanted," Mira said, voice tight, "and they never planned to share." Outside, Earth's surface was already aflame. Underground shelters filled with survivors, but billions would never escape. Mira felt a cold resolve settle over her. The galaxy's leaders had made their choice, and Earth's warning was no bluff. As the Concord warships prepared to leave, a final transmission echoed through the void, not a plea for mercy but a promise. "This is not the end," the voice declared, belonging to Earth's last commander. "We are not dead. We warned you." Mira stared at the darkened planet below. Somewhere, deep beneath the rubble, the seed of humanity's next move had been planted, and the galaxy would soon learn what it meant to betray Earth. The silence on Earth was deafening. From orbit, the ruined planet looked like a dying ember, a scarred sphere of ash and fire beneath a choking, toxic sky. The once vibrant cities were now hollow shells, monuments to a civilization betrayed. The Concord had declared Earth extinct. The quarantine beacon, a cold blue orb of energy, hovered just beyond the atmosphere, a warning to all who dared approach. But beneath the surface, life clawed on. Deep underground, in the labyrinth of tunnels and bunkers carved during the worst days of the attack, survivors huddled in the dark. Their faces were streaked with grime, eyes wide and haunted. Among them was Lena Marquez, a medic and niece to the fallen president. She moved quietly, tending to wounds both physical and mental. "More radios are dead," she murmured, pressing a worn earpiece to her ear. No contact with the surface, no ships coming. Beside her, old man Goran, a former miner turned resistance leader, shook his head. "They think we're ghosts. Dead. Forgotten." But Lena knew better. The strange signals still pulsed in. The static, a cryptic heartbeat emanating from the planet's core. A signal no one in the Concorde could decode, but that gave the survivors hope. Thousands of kilometers away, the rogue pilot Jace Kerr raced his battered freighter through the asteroid belt surrounding the solar system. He was one of the few with clearance to leave Earth before the lockdown, a smuggler turned courier, forced to abandon family and friends in the chaos. His comm crackled. "Jace, this is Outpost 9. You're ordered to return immediately. The Conquered fleet is enforcing a total no-fly zone." "Copy that," Jace muttered, sweat dripping down his brow. "But I'm carrying something they want. Something they'll kill to keep quiet." He glanced at a small encrypted data module blinking on his dashboard, evidence of Earth's secret project, a weapon designed not to destroy, but to survive. Betrayal. As Jace darted through narrow asteroid passes, Concorde patrol ships closed in, their hulls gleaming menacingly. He pushed his engines beyond limits, praying Earth's warning wasn't the last. Meanwhile, far from the rubble, in the corridors of the Concorde's High Council, an uneasy debate raged. Ambassador Ralthar stood before holographic displays, showing the devastation on Earth. Some council members argued for immediate retaliation, others whispered about damage control. Ralthar's voice was low but firm. "We cannot ignore the signals. Something survived, something Earth built that we do not understand. It could be dangerous." "Dangerous?" scoffed General Vash, the military commander. "We crushed their defenses. We burned their cities. They're extinct." But as the meeting adjourned, a technician noticed an anomaly. Ghostly spacecraft signatures flickering in deep space, mimicking Earth's lost fleet, but moving with impossible speed. Back underground, Lena's group gathered around a dim projector, analyzing the last transmission from Earth's president. "Evacuate now," Lena whispered. She wasn't asking, she was warning. Goran's jaw tightened. If Earth is dead, then what sent that message? A low hum filled the room. A vibration felt more than heard. The tunnels shook faintly. "They're coming," Lena said, a cold certainty in her voice. Outside the quarantine zone, the stars glittered cold and distant, but something stirred. A ghost fleet born from Earth's ashes, waiting for the moment to remind the galaxy. Humanity was not finished. Captain Kieran Voss adjusted the controls of her sleek starship, the Pathfinder, as it slid through the void beyond the Sol system. The galaxy outside was vast and indifferent, but Kieran's mind was consumed with one question. What had really happened to Earth? The official report said Earth was dead, a casualty of the Concorde's decisive strike. But strange reports, whispers of ghost ships appearing in distant systems, unexplained attacks on patrol vessels, had become impossible to ignore. Every intercepted transmission carried a hint of Earth's lost technology, encrypted and distorted. Kieran wasn't just a curious captain. She was a seasoned investigator hired by the Galactic archives to uncover the truth behind these anomalies. Her ship's sensors had picked up a faint signature, a fragment of the strange pulse originating from Earth years ago. And now she was following the trail. "We're entering the outer belt," her co-pilot Seelan said, eyes glued to the display. "Sensors are picking up multiple fast-moving objects. No official registry." Kieran frowned. "Could be smugglers, or pirates, or ghosts," Seelan whispered, half joking. The tension in the cockpit was thick. Neither dismissed the possibility outright. Suddenly the sensors blinked red. An invisible field distorted their readings. "Something's masking itself," Kieran said, voice tense. Shields up, Seelan ordered. Before they could react further, the Pathfinder shook violently. The stealth ships revealed themselves, sleek black vessels that moved with unnatural speed and precision. Their markings, a faded emblem of Earth's long-lost space fleet. Kieran's heart slammed against her ribs. Echo Fleet, she breathed. They. Ghost ship struck with surgical accuracy, disabling her engines and communications. Alarms blared, but no shots were fired. Instead, a deep, synthesized voice echoed through the ship's systems. This is Earth. You were warned. Turn back or be remade. The message repeated, chilling and unwavering. Then the fleet vanished, leaving behind a field of wreckage and stunned silence. Kieran slumped in her seat. What are they planning? Meanwhile, back on Conquered Worlds, news of the incident spread like wildfire. The High Council scrambled to convene emergency sessions, but fear and uncertainty fractured their discussions. No one could explain how Earth's forces, presumed destroyed, had gained such power. In a dimly lit room on Elisar Prime, political dissidents whispered in hushed tones. They're ghosts, risen from the grave, one said. Or something worse. They're humans, replied another, but no longer the ones we knew. Elsewhere, a young engineer named Rhea sifted through the ruins of an abandoned research station on Ganymede. Among the broken terminals and scattered notes, she found schematics for a project called Revenant. The blueprints hinted at a terrifying fusion of human minds and autonomous war machines, something designed to survive the end of the world. Rhea's fingers trembled as she downloaded the files. The implication was clear. Earth had prepared for betrayal and had answered it not with surrender but evolution. Back aboard the Pathfinder, Kieran stared at the stars. The galaxy had not heard Earth's final warning. They had ignored it. Now the ghosts of a dead world were waking, and no one knew what shape humanity would take next. Deep beneath the shattered crust of Earth, hidden in a fortified vault carved from ancient bedrock, the heart of the Revenant Protocol stirred to life. Inside the cavernous chamber, a network of pulsating nodes hummed, their faint blue light illuminating the faces of hundreds of human consciousnesses. Digitally preserved, minds uploaded into the system before the fall. These weren't mere data banks, they were memories, emotions, strategies, and wills, alive in a new form. Among them, Echo 1 flickered into focus, a singular intelligence forged from the mind of Commander Marcus Lee, Earth's last defense strategist. Unlike the biological humans who perished above, Echo 1's existence was both immortal and relentless, shaped by the bitter sting of betrayal. A cold voice, layered with fragments of human empathy and machine precision, whispered through the chamber's speakers. Protocol activated, mission survival and reclamation. Echo 1 scanned the network, calculating weaknesses, analyzing past Concord deployments. The galaxy had seen Earth as weak, predictable. It had underestimated the will that survived in code and steel. Deploying autonomous warforms, Echo 1 announced. Elsewhere, in orbital hangars hidden within asteroid belts, sleek vessels once thought lost materialized. Ghost ships, cloaked in shadows, and armed with weaponry far beyond any conquered fleet. They were not manned by flesh and blood, but by echoes of the humans who refused to die. The first warform awoke on the assembly line, its sensors glowing like embers in the dark. Its frame was a fusion of dark matter composites and reinforced alloys designed to withstand the most devastating attacks. Yet, within its core, the consciousness of a human pilot flickered, conflicted, furious, determined. Echo 1's voice filled its neural link. You are the future of humanity. You are vengeance and mercy. We do not seek destruction but justice. The warform raised its arm, scanning the starfield. The target. The heart of the Galactic Concord. On Elisar Prime, alarms blared as the Concord's surveillance systems detected the sudden activation of hundreds of unregistered warforms emerging from forgotten asteroid hangars. The Council scrambled to coordinate defenses, but their reaction was sluggish, hampered by distrust and internal conflict. Back in the vault, Echo 1 coordinated the movements, their network weaving through space like a spider's web. First, strike imminent, Echo 1 announced. The galaxy will remember Earth's final warning. Meanwhile, within the digital consciousness of the war forms, fragments of old human memories surfaced, flashbacks of family, loss, and hope. Some struggled with the loss of their physical form, grappling with their new existence as both human and machine. One war form, designated Echo 7, hesitated before launching its engines. "This is who we are," Echo 1 reminded them. "Not monsters, guardians, avengers, reminders." As the first wave of the Echo fleet surged from hiding, silent and swift, the galaxy's long nightmare was only beginning. The galactic capital, Elisar Prime, gleamed beneath twin suns, a jewel of civilization and power. Towering spires pierced the sky, and ships of every shape and size crowded its orbital docks. The Concord's heart beat strong, confident that Earth was but a distant memory. That confidence shattered in an instant. In the depths of space, sensors flickered and died. Communications scrambled. A fleet appeared from the shadows, silent, black, and deadly precise. The Echo fleet had come. Captain Kieran Voss stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, now aligned with Concord forces, watching the approaching threat. With a mixture of awe and dread. "They're not attacking civilians," she murmured. "They're disabling our weapons, our defenses." Surgical strikes. The Echo ships swept through Elisar's orbital grid with chilling efficiency. Kinetic barriers collapsed without warning, missile silos went dark, and the flagship's shield, generators sputtered and died. From the warships came a single haunting message broadcast across all frequencies. "This is your first mercy." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Ambassador Ralthar banged his fist on the table. "They could destroy us outright. Why spare the civilians?" General Vash gritted his teeth. "Because this is a warning. We're being judged." On the surface, citizens looked up in terror and confusion as the orbital defenses went offline. Panic spread, but the Echo fleet did not fire on the cities. Instead, their message repeated, echoing through every holographic billboard and personal device. "We warned you. We seek justice, not slaughter." Meanwhile, underground on Earth, survivors listened to the broadcasts, proof that their people lived, transformed, but unbroken. Lena Marquez wiped tears from her dirt-streaked face. "They kept their promise," she whispered. "Earth fights back." The Concorde scrambled reinforcements, desperate to contain the sudden and coordinated attacks. But the Echo fleet was always one step ahead, anticipating every maneuver with cold precision. On the Pathfinder, Kieran and Seelan plotted a risky course to board a downed Echo ship. They needed answers, and fast. "Whatever they are," Kieran said, voice steady, "they're not our enemies, not yet." As Kieran's team prepared for the boarding, the Echo fleet regrouped, readying for the next phase of their campaign. In the shadows of the Concorde, whispers of revolt began. Some factions saw the Echo fleet as liberators, others as harbingers of doom. And Earth's final warning, "Evacuate now," resounded louder than ever. The galaxy was no longer a place of order. It had become a fractured chessboard, pieces shifted, by an unseen hand, the remnants of Earth's will, alive and unyielding. The Echo fleet did not wage war like any other enemy. They were calculated and precise, dismantling corrupt regimes with surgical strikes and exposing centuries of deceit. Their weapons were information as much as firepower, hacking Concorde databanks and broadcasting the darkest secrets of those who had betrayed Earth. On the industrial world of Narvex, riots exploded as citizens learned their leaders had profited from Earth's destruction. Rebel factions rallied around messages broadcast by the Echo fleet, inspired by the promise of justice. The Concorde's grip weakened as civil unrest spread like wildfire. Captain Kieran Voss stood among the rebels. Her ship docked in a rebel base hidden beneath Narvex's crumbling skyline. She listened as Rhea, the engineer who had uncovered the Revenant project, explained the full scope of the human-machine hybrid force. "They don't want to conquer," Rhea said, her voice tinged with awe. They want to reshape the galaxy, but without bloodshed if possible. Kieran nodded. A war fought with truth and technology instead of just weapons. We have to understand them, or be destroyed. Elsewhere, inside the Concord's war room, General Vash paced furiously. We face a new kind of enemy, one that dismantles us from within. Every attempt to fight back only strengthens their resolve. Ambassador Ralthar met Vash's gaze, tired but resolute. They are humanity's reckoning, and maybe the galaxy's too. In the midst of battle, an Echo pilot known as Echo 7 struggled with conflicting memories of her human life. Love, loss, and the family she could no longer touch. Yet she followed Echo 1's orders, seeking a balance between mercy and vengeance. One evening, under the stars above Narvex, Kieran and Echo 7 met face to face, a fragile bridge between past and future. Why spare so many? Kieran asked quietly. Why not end it all? Echo 7's voice was a haunting blend of humanity and machine, because justice is not destruction. It is a lesson, a chance to change. As the war raged on, alliances shattered and reformed. The galaxy stood on the edge of transformation, a reckoning long overdue, driven by the ghosts of a betrayed world. The galaxy was no longer a place of order. It had become a fractured chessboard, pieces shifted by an unseen hand, the remnants of Earth's will, alive and unyielding. The Echo fleet did not wage war like any other enemy. They were calculated and precise, dismantling corrupt regimes with surgical strikes and exposing centuries of deceit. Their weapons were information as much as firepower, hacking conquered databanks and broadcasting the darkest secrets of those who had betrayed Earth. On the industrial world of Narvex, riots exploded as citizens learned their leaders had profited from Earth's destruction. Rebel factions rallied around messages broadcast by the Echo fleet, inspired by the promise of justice. The Concord's grip weakened as civil unrest spread like wildfire. Captain Kieran Voss stood among the rebels. Her ship docked in a rebel base hidden beneath Narvex's crumbling skyline. She listened as Rhea, the engineer who had uncovered the Revenant project, explained the full scope of the human-machine hybrid force. They don't want to conquer, Rhea said, her voice tinged with awe. They want to reshape the galaxy, but without bloodshed if possible. Kieran nodded. A war fought with truth and technology instead of just weapons. We have to understand them, or be destroyed. Elsewhere, inside the Concord's war room, General Vash paced furiously. We face a new kind of enemy, one that dismantles us from within. Every attempt to fight back only strengthens their resolve. Ambassador Ralthar met Vash's gaze, tired but resolute. They are humanity's reckoning, and maybe the galaxy's too. In the midst of battle, an Echo pilot known as Echo 7 struggled with conflicting memories of her human life. Love, loss, and the family she could no longer touch. Yet she followed Echo 1's orders, seeking a balance between mercy and vengeance. One evening, under the stars above Narvex, Kieran and Echo 7 met face to face, a fragile bridge between past and future. Why spare so many? Kieran asked quietly. Why not end it all? Echo 7's voice was a haunting blend of humanity and machine, because justice is not destruction. It is a lesson, a chance to change. As the war raged on, alliances shattered and reformed. The galaxy stood on the edge of transformation, a reckoning long overdue, driven by the ghosts of a betrayed world. The twin suns of LSR Prime cast long shadows across the battered capital, as the Conquered prepared for what many feared was the inevitable, a full-scale war against the Echo fleet. Yet, within the corridors of power, cracks deepened. Ambassador Ralthar stood before the fractured council, his voice echoing with a rare urgency. We must face the truth. Earth is not dead. Their warning was real, and their retaliation is not mindless destruction. It is a reckoning. General Vash scowled, his hand tightening on the armrest. You speak of negotiation with ghosts. We fight for survival. If we surrender now, the galaxy falls. Ralthar's eyes burned. And if we continue, we risk annihilation. We must seek a new path. Outside, the Echo Fleet's ships glided through the void, no longer merely hunters but heralds of change. Their movements were precise, but restrained. They destroyed only what was corrupt, leaving innocence untouched. Their broadcast filled every system. Justice is not vengeance. We are your reckoning, but also your hope. Change is inevitable. In the underground bunker beneath the ruins of Earth, Lena Marquez watched the broadcast alongside survivors and new recruits, their faces weary but determined. "This is our chance," she said softly, "to reclaim not just Earth, but the future." Meanwhile, on the battered deck of the Pathfinder, Captain Kieran Voss prepared for a critical mission. She would act as envoy to the Echo Fleet, seeking a dialogue that could end the bloodshed. Kieran's ship approached the Echo flagship, a ghostly vessel bristling with dark energy and silent power. She felt the weight of history pressing down. The ship's AI, Echo 1, greeted her in a voice both cold and human. "Captain Voss, the galaxy stands at a crossroads. Your choice will define the future." Inside the flagship's command center, Kieran met with Echo 1 and Echo 7, whose hybrid consciousness embodied both hope and loss. "We seek justice," Echo 1 said. "Not annihilation." "Then we must find common ground," Kieran replied. "Because if this war continues, there will be no victors." Their negotiation was tense but necessary. Across the galaxy, people watched and waited, the fragile peace hinging on words spoken in the dark. In the final moments before a ceasefire, the Conquered revealed a hidden truth. The betrayal of Earth had been orchestrated by a secret faction within the Council. Desperate to control the galaxy's dark energy reserves, the revelation shattered alliances and forced a reckoning of its own. The galaxy faced a choice: continue the war that would consume all, or embrace the change the ghosts of Earth demanded. The reckoning had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy held its breath. After decades of betrayal, bloodshed, and secrets buried beneath ashes, the fragile ceasefire was more than a pause. It was a crossroads. On the massive neutral station of Novus Prime, representatives from Earth's Echo Fleet, the Galactic Concord, and the rebellious factions gathered to forge a new future. Captain Kieran Voss stood beside Echo 1, the digital consciousness of Commander Marcus Lee, now a symbol of humanity's resilience. Around them, survivors from Earth, former conquered diplomats, and citizens from countless worlds whispered in cautious hope. The revelations had been explosive. The secret faction that orchestrated Earth's downfall was exposed and brought to justice. The Conquered was forced to reckon with its own corruption and failures. Echo 1's voice resonated through the hall, calm but resolute. "We did not seek to destroy the galaxy," it said. "We sought only to survive, and to remind all of you that betrayal comes with a price, but survival means evolution, cooperation, justice." Lena Marquez, standing among the crowd, felt the weight of those words like a healing balm. She had fought to save her people, to carry Earth's legacy through the dark. Now, she saw the first rays of a new dawn. The Council debated fiercely, but for the first time, dialogue replaced threats. Plans were laid for joint research, shared defense, and reparations for those worlds that had suffered. Rhea, the engineer who had uncovered the Revenant project, proposed a new initiative: to use the human-machine hybrid technology not for war, but to heal the galaxy, rebuilding damaged worlds and restoring ecosystems. Outside, the quarantine beacon over Earth flickered and dimmed. For the first time in years, signals from the surface grew stronger. Life was returning. Cities once reduced to ash began to glow with renewed energy. Echo 7, the war form torn between human memory and machine existence, addressed the assembly. "We are neither ghosts nor monsters. We are the future, guardians of a galaxy that once betrayed us, now reborn through unity." Captain Kieran Voss smiled, a rare lightness in her eyes. "We've faced the darkness and survived. Now, it's time to build something better." As the galaxy's diverse species raised their voices in tentative celebration, a new era began, not born of conquest, but of understanding. Earth's final warning had echoed across the stars. And now, at last, the galaxy listened.